Now we will be doing indirect tax amendments as applicable for June 2025 exam and as well for December exams also, but mainly for June exams. In between June and December also you may have some amendments that would be covered separately, guys. Yeah, this exclusively for June exams. So the first change, I have arranged all these amendments or changes in the chapter order in however we will do our regular class. Same sequence I have arranged. Whatever content I would have highlighted in red color is the only changes, guys. Sir, I have taken all the contents because just to give the link to the topics, because I have not taken only the amendment part. But whatever content I would have highlighted in red color is the amendment part. Rest remains the same. Okay. So if you guys are keeping the regular study material also with you, it would be easy for you to refer. Yeah. Under chapter 3, levy and collection of GST, the first one where there is a list of goods which are taxable under reverse charge mechanism, there were already 7 items, guys. There were already 7 items. Now the 8th item has been added. This is for the goods taxable under RCM. 8th item is supply of metal scrap falling under the chapter 72 to 81 in the first schedule to Customs Tariff Act 1975, supplied by unregistered person. So who is the supplier? Unregistered person, whereas the recipient is registered. So in that case, the recipient is the one who is liable to pay GST. Okay. Now, guys, with respect to this, I just want to explain in detail because it is connected to registration topic also. What is it? Supply of metal scrap. If the supplier is unregistered under GST because his turnover is within the threshold limit, then the recipient, if he is registered, he has to pay GST under RCM. Recipient only if he is registered, he will pay GST under RCM. Sir, what if recipient is also unregistered? No RCM. That means it is not taxable at all. Okay. Now, for supplier, is it exempt forever, sir? Will he never pay tax? No. Once if his aggregate turnover crosses the threshold limit, whatever is applicable for him, either 10 lakh in case of special states or 20 lakh or 40 lakh, he has to get registered. He has to get registered. And once he applies for the registration and takes it, RCM will stop. RCM will stop. That means FCM will start. Supplier will pay tax under forward charge mechanism. So RCM is not like forever. RCM is only to the point where the supplier is liable for registration. Once he is liable for registration, RCM stops and FCM starts. In that case, obviously, recipient, even though he is registered, still he will not be liable to pay GST. But you guys know, when FCM is applicable, supplier is liable to pay GST. What does he do? He will charge and collect it from the recipient. Okay, but liability will be on the heads of supplier in case of forward charge. Okay. Then coming to the service list, as service list is huge, I have taken only whatever is relevant for the amendment, 5AA and 5AB. In 5AA, there is no changes, which was service by way of renting of residential dwelling to registered person. So any supplier, that is the owner whom we call, if he has rented out the property to a registered tenant, then if it is a residential dwelling, that is for residential purpose, then the tenant is the one who is liable to pay GST under RCM. Now they have added one more item here, 5AB, services by way of renting of any immobile property other than residential dwelling. Because residential dwelling was covered here, now in 5AB they have covered other than residential dwelling. Okay. Now who is the supplier? Any unregistered person, means the owner is unregistered owner. He is not registered under GST. Whereas the tenant is registered under the GST. So who should pay the GST? The recipient under RCM. And here recipient is nothing but the tenant, guys. Clear? So in simple, whether it is renting of residential dwelling or other than residential dwelling, if recipient or the tenant is registered under GST, he is the one who is liable to pay GST under RCM. Okay. Next, coming to section 10 composition scheme. There are 2 composition scheme, guys, under section 10.1, that is for manufacturer, trader and restaurant supplier, and the second one is for those who are not eligible for 10.1. That composition scheme is under section 10.2a. For both the schemes, there are list of people who are not eligible. There are list of people who are not eligible for composition scheme. This list has been increased by one more person now. That is the last one. Registered persons who are engaged in supply of specified actionable claim as defined in section 2102A. Guys, this actionable claim is a part of negative list. But from negative list, they have excluded specified actionable claims. Now, if it is a specified actionable claim, is GST applicable on it? Yes. So, if I am supplying that specified actionable claim, can I follow composition scheme? No. Both the composition scheme are not available for me. Even 10 to 8 till 10 to A composition scheme is not available for the supplier of specified actionable claim. Rest of the list remains same. Then coming to section 11 read with notification, that is exemptions. So under educational services, guys, 66 was already there. Now they have added one more, 66A, which is new one. 66A. Services of affiliation provided by central or state educational board or council or any other similar body by whatever name called to a school established, owned or controlled by central government, state government, union territory, local authority, governmental authority or government entity. In simple, government school. So services provided, that is affiliation services, whatever they provide by the state education board or the central education board or council to government schools is exempt. Sir, what if it is for private schools or any university? Is it taxable? Yes, it is taxable. Only if the recipient is a government schools, it is exempt, guys. Okay, that to schools. Sir, what if it is a government college or university and all? They have not covered it. Please be careful. Okay, see, to a school established, owned or controlled by the so and so governments, only that is covered. If it is a university or college also, they have not tested it. Okay. Next, services provided by government. Guys, I just arranged these amendments in the order of the exemptions. However, we would have covered in the class. Every list I would have not taken wherever the amendment is. Only those lists I would have covered it here. Oh. Services provided by government means the government is the supplier. There is two more additions. Two more additions. Already the list is big. They have added two more here. 9E. Services provided by Ministry of Railways. Ministry of Railways, Indian Railways to individuals. Who is the recipient? Individuals by way of sale of platform tickets, facility of renting rooms, waiting rooms, clock room services, battery operated car services. Okay, for this, if recipient is individual, they are telling, obviously, all the services are normally taken by individuals only, they are telling it is exempt. Next, 9F, services provided by one zone division under Ministry of Railways, Indian Railways to another zone or division under Ministry of Railways under, that is Indian Railways. Ministry of Railways or Indian Railways is one and the same. Next, skill development services. Entry number 69. Guys, this entry was already there. It is not a complete amendment. Why I have given everything in red? Because in between they have changed few words. In between they have changed this words. So what I suggest is, if you already covered entry 69, just replace that 69 with this. Okay, because in between some changes has happened and all. So instead of giving whatever is the change, only mix machala and all. So I have told entire content or entry, I have given it in red. So now instead of what you would have studied, refer to this. Entry 69. Small changes are there in between. Then coming to entry 71, they have just added the word education here. Education, which was not there before, now they have added it. So it is now National Council for Vocational Education and Training. Okay. Then the last list here, other exempt services. There, for entry 12, which was already there, they have added one extra explanation. Extra explanation. What is it? First, let me read this, because as there is connection, we have to know what is the entry first. Services by way of renting of residential dwelling for use as residence, except where residential dwelling is rented to a registered person. Guys, listen. Now, if recipient is registered, that is the tenant, RCM. If recipient is unregistered, then exempt. Then exempt. Then they gave already one explanation telling, if recipient is registered under GST as a sole proprietor, but he has taken the house for rent not in his business or professional capacity, but in personal capacity, they told exemption is available. I repeat, recipient is a sole proprietor who is registered under GST. That means RCM should be applicable. Yes. But they gave an explanation telling if recipient would have taken the house in his personal capacity, not in professional capacity, then there is no RCM. That means it is exempt. Then it is exempt. This applicable only for sole proprietor who is the recipient. Oh. Then they gave one more explanation telling nothing contained in this entry shall apply to, means exemption is not applicable to accommodation services for students in student residences, that is hostel or maybe PG, accommodation services provided by hostels, camps, paying guest accommodations and the like. They told here students, obviously again hostels, camps, paying guest and all they have covered it. So if accommodation is provided by the supplier in PG, hostel and all, then for them exemption is not available. Exemption is not available. That means, is it taxable? Yes, guys. Okay. Then coming to 12A, new entry. Supply of accommodation services having a value of less than or equal to 20,000 rupees. So 20,000 rupees, less than or equal to. Less than or equal to. Per person per month. Provided that the accommodation service is supplied for a minimum continuous period of 90 days, means 3 months. Minimum accommodation has to be provided for 3 months, that is 3 or more months, and monthly charges should not be more than 20,000 per person. In that case, they are telling it is exempt. So, supply of accommodation services having value of less than 20,000 or equal to 20,000, and also it is for a minimum period of 90 days. They are telling it is exempt. Is that clear? So now, sir, can this be a PG or hostel and all? Yes. What they excluded here, they tried to include it in 12A. Provided it is not more than 20,000 per month. If it is more than 20,000, entire amount would be taxable, subject to GST. Okay. Next, 25A, new entry again. Supply of services by way of providing metering equipment on rent, testing for meters, transformers, capacitors, etc. Releasing electricity connection, shifting of meters, service lines, issuing duplicate bills, etc. which are incidental or ancillary to the supply of transmission and distribution of electricity. Provided by electricity transmission and distribution utilities, that is the supplier, to their consumer. So, what they are talking about is providing metering equipments is exempt under GST. Next, 44A, again a new entry. Research and development services against consideration received in the form of grants supplied by, means who has given the grant. Okay. A government entity or a research association, university, college or other institution notified under the clauses 2 or 3 of subsection 1 of section 35. In income tax also, even though it is not related to my business, if I have contributed to the approved college, university, institution, then I can claim deduction under section 35 in under the head PGBP only in income tax. They are talking about it. Okay. So research and development services, what these guys are providing against the grants given to them is exempt. So who is the supplier? The following people. They're telling the following services, whatever research and development services they are providing is exempt under GST. The condition to be fulfilled in this case is that research association, university, college or other institution notified under the clauses 2 or 3 of section 35 subsection 1 of Income Tax Act is so notified at the time of supply of research and development service, means they should be approved. Even in section 35 also that condition is there. The recipient should be approved. There the deduction is given to the giver who is donating it. Can he claim it as a business expenditure? Yes. But here for the receiver they are telling they are not liable to pay GST. That is the research houses. Okay. Done with that chapter. Then coming to chapter 5, input tax credit. Guys, section 16 talks about conditions, eligibility and all to claim input tax credit. There they have added a new section, subsection 6. We would have already learned up to subsection 4. Subsection 5 is not relevant from exam point of view. Coming to subsection 6. This gives relaxation for the deadline given in section 16.4. Guys, let us just recall section 16 subsection 4. What a section 16 subsection 4 is telling is, it is putting deadline to claim credit. Input tax credit can be claimed latest by 30th November of next financial year or actual date of filing annual return, which is in GSTR 9. Agree? Actual date of filing annual return for the year or 30th November of next financial year, whichever is earlier. So if I have to give the example, assume the ITC is relating to any month of financial year 23-24, any month, that is from April to March. What is the deadline to claim credit? Assume guys, the annual return for 23-24, the due date to file annual return is 31st December, but they are not talking about due date here. Annual return assume is filed on 15th October 24. So within what time I have to claim the credit with respect to any month for the financial year 23-24 is 30th November 24, that is next financial year, or the actual date of filing the annual return, whichever is earlier, which is 15th October 24. So any credit relating to the financial year 23-24, I have to claim it latest by 15th October. But can I go and claim it on 15th October? No. In any GSTR 3B which I will file before 15th October. So can I claim it in October month GSTR 3B? No, because I will file it only in November. By then time would have already been over. So now any GSTR 3B which you will file on or before 15th October, you can claim it. Okay, any month. It need not be in October or August or in whichever month, September. It can be any time before. Sir, normally we claim the credit in the same month or maybe next month or next month, because that is the benefit given to the person. So you will try to claim it as early as possible. But this is the deadline maximum time they are given under the law. Okay. This is under section 16.4. Now guys, we have cancellation proceedings under section 29 and revocation of cancellation under section 30. Now assume my registration was cancelled by the proper officer under any grounds given under section 29 subsection 2, read with rules. He has cancelled my registration. First he sent me the notice, all those procedure has been followed, he cancelled my registration. So effective date of cancellation was from 1st September 24, you assume guys. 1st September 24. Later I received the cancellation order, shocked. Now I again made an application telling, sir, give back my cancellation. Give back my cancellation, and I have made all my default good. Okay. Now assume revocation order, that is the revocation of cancellation order has been passed on 1st January 25 guys. 1st January 25. See, till revocation order is passed, during this period, I was not supposed to file any return. Yes, I was not supposed to file any return. But before this, any return which I is pending, I have to file it. Even if it is after 1st September also, I have to file it. Anything I am liable to pay for the period before 1st September, I have to pay it, even if it is after 1st September. Okay, but I am not talking about that period. For the time gap between September and December, or maybe till 1st January, I had not allowed to file the return in the past. Yes. Now, once my cancellation has been revoked, within 30 days, guys, within 30 days, I have to file the returns for this period. That is from September to December. Within 30 days from 1st January. Now, sir, I am not supposed to do anything. Yes, even if you have not done anything, at least file nil return. At least file nil return. Okay. Now what they have told in section, this all was already there guys, nothing new. Okay, now what is new we will see. Okay. Now in section 16 subsection 6 they are telling, if whatever time limit we discussed here is getting over in between these dates, in between this date, if 16 subsection 4 time limit is getting over, now, sir, cannot claim the credit after 1st January? They are telling yes. Under section 16.6, they gave a relaxation telling, even if the deadline given under section 16 subsection 4 has ended during this period, you will still have 30 days time from 1st January. You will still have time to claim credit with respect to whatever financial year we are talking about, within 30 days from the date on which revocation of cancellation order is passed. Is that clear? So this is what the amendment is as per section 16 subsection 6. First we had only this irrespective of the case, but now in case of cancellation, the time gap between the effective date of cancellation till the revocation order date, if by chance within this time gap, if the time limit to claim credit under section 16(4) is over, you are still given 30 days time from the revocation order date. From the revocation order date. Let me just read. So it is interconnected. 16(4) read with section 29(30) and now 16(6). Yeah. Where registration of a registered person is cancelled under section 29 and subsequently the cancellation of registration is revoked by any order either under section 30 or pursuant to any order made by appellant authority or appellant tribunal or the court, and the return for the period from the date of cancellation till the effective date of cancellation till the date of revocation of cancellation cannot be filed on the portal by the taxpayer till their cancellation of registration is revoked. So till this order is passed, I cannot file the return for this period. Only if revocation order is passed, within 30 days of revocation, I can file the returns from September to December. Okay. In such cases, where the recipient has not claimed the ITC in respect of any invoice or debit note pertaining to that financial year, and in the meantime, time limit stipulated in section 16(4) lapses, you would not be able to claim ITC on the said invoice or debit note. Guys, please be very careful. Only if the time limit ends during this time gap, they are telling you will get plus 30 days from the revocation order date. Sir, what if 16(4) time limit was already over before 1st September only? Then credit lapses. You cannot claim it now. The extension is only for the credit which is getting lapsed between this time. Will I get any extra time? Yes, that is what section 16 subsection 6 is talking about. Consequently, relaxation has been given and the time limit to avail ITC under section 16 subsection 4 in respect of any invoice debit note is extended till the date of filing the return in case where the returns for the period from the date of cancellation of registration or effective date of cancellation of registration till the date of revocation of cancellation of registration are filed within 30 days of revocation of the cancellation of registration, subject to the condition that the time limit to avail the ITC in respect of said invoice or debit note as per section 16(4) had not already expired on the date of cancellation of registration or effective date of cancellation. That is, before this only, if time is already over, definitely 16(6) benefit is not at all available for me. Not at all available, guys. Okay. Next, coming to section chapter 6, which talks about procedural compliance under GST. There, the first topic, registration. So there is a small amendment that is with respect to the supplier of metal scrap only, which actually I have already explained. Okay, guys. So the third point, which talks about compulsory registration under section 24, they covered persons who are required to pay tax under reverse charge. That is nothing but recipient. But exemption under section 23 was given. However, persons engaged exclusively in making supplies. So here persons means who? Suppliers. Tax on which is liable to be paid on reverse charge basis under section 9(3), except suppliers of metal scrap are exempt from registration. So simple, guys. I have just made one diagram for it. Let me explain through this. Now, sir, supplier is engaged in supplying goods or services which is always taxable under RCM, and he is not providing any other thing. Anything he provides, that is his outward supply, is always taxable under RCM. So recipient is the one who is liable to pay tax. So for him, mandatory registration as per section 24, he has to get registered and pay tax. Or if he is already registered, well and good, just pay the tax. Because most of the RCM cases covered are the recipient who is registered already. Even if by chance, sir, RCM case is applicable for me as a recipient, but I am not yet registered, what should I do? Compulsorily get registered. Compulsorily get registered. Now for supplier, Sir, is threshold limit applicable for the supplier? Assume his turnover crosses 20 lakh, 30 or 40 lakh. Should he get registered? No. Even turnover is not applicable for him, provided he is exclusively providing outward supply, which is always taxable under RCM. For him, registration is exempted as per section 23. But one exception is there for this. That is supplier of metal scrap. So if the supplier is supplying the metal scrap, then if he crosses the threshold limit for registration, he should get registered under GST. He should get registered under GST. And once he get registered under GST, RCM stops and FCM will start, which I already explained. So that RCM is connected to this registration, guys. Okay. So in 24, in this point, it is except supplier of metal scrap. Then coming to 24, one more change is there. One more addition. Every person who is supplying online money gaming from a place outside India to a person in India. So supplier is outside India, whereas the recipient is in India. What is the supplier supplying? Online money gaming. Means he might be providing some platform for the purpose of online money gaming. Then coming to 23. So 23 subsection 2 gives the power to notify, power to the government to notify any goods or services for which the exemption is there for registration, okay, or for any party also. May not be always goods or services, it can be a particular person also. So there, first point was already with respect to the supplier, guys. Let me read it. Persons who are only engaged in making supplies, so this person means who? Suppliers of taxable goods or services or both, the total tax on which is liable to be paid on reverse charge basis by the recipient of such goods or services or both under section 9(3) have been exempted from obtaining registration. So if I am a supplier who is providing only the goods or services which is always taxable under RCM, for me registration turnover also is not applicable. I am completely exempt from registration. Sir, what if I am making two supplies? One supply is taxable under FCM, one supply is taxable under RCM. Is turnover applicable for me? Yes. If I cross the turnover, should I get registered? Yes. Oh, this was the scenario which was already there. So this exemption they gave to the supplier. Irrespective of his turnover, he need not get registered. But this exemption is not applicable for the supplier of metal scrap, guys. Metal scrap. So there is a connections here which we already covered in RCM. There also I explained it. Now also we just now covered. So this gives you the idea. This chart and the previous one which I just covered under RCM. Yeah, this one. Yeah, we'll proceed further. Yeah, next topic is returns. In chapter 6 itself. Yeah, for the composition supplier, guys, he has to pay tax quarterly, file payment statement quarterly, but file annual return in GSTR 4. And here the time limit is now 30th June. Previously it was 30th April, but now it is 30th June of the next financial year. 30th June of next financial year. Next, now they have added one new returns called GSTR 1A. This is only for amendment. This is only for amendment. Let me explain this. Okay, let me explain it to you. Guys, listen. Shh, silence. Now, if I am the registered supplier, I have to file GSTR 1, giving the details of what and all? My outward supply, also my output tax. Only details with respect to output. Within what, sir? 11th of next month. Within 11th of next month. Next, sir, the same person should also file GSTR 3B, giving the details of what and all? Outward supply plus output tax plus inward supply plus input tax. Input tax would have already auto-populated in GST 2A, 2B. I have to just mention it again here. And this has to be filed on or before 20th of next month. Assuming he is filing monthly returns, guys. Assuming the registered person is filing monthly returns. Yes, sir. Now they are giving the opportunity for making any corrections. Sir, if I have made any mistake in my GSTR 1 of the sales was missing or sale value I have given more or less. Can I correct it previously? Yes, you can correct or amend it only in your next GSTR 1. In the next month GSTR 1 or whenever you find it. But now, if I find my errors or mistake before filing GSTR 3B, so before filing GSTR 3B, can I correct my mistakes or error in GSTR 1? Yes, I can correct it. Yes, I can amend it. But before filing GSTR 3B, so that the mistake will auto get corrected even in my 3B also. So once I file 1, if there is any error or mistake in 1 for the same month, before filing GSTR 3B, I can correct it. Sir, for the GSTR 1 filed in this month, can I file 1A in next month? No. That you can correct in next month GSTR 1 only. Clear? So 1A is available only for the mistakes done in 1, but you can amend it through 1A before filing 3B. Once you file 3B, the doors for 1A get closed. You cannot amend through GSTR 1A, guys. Clear? So in between this, now they have added something called as GSTR 1A, and it is an option given, not mandatory. Sir, now I have committed a mistake in 1. I have identified it before filing 3B. Is it mandatory for me to amend it? Need not. Can I amend it in my next GSTR 1 also? Okay, you can do it. So if you want to amend it before filing 3B, so that in 3B also correct figures will reflect, they have given the option to you. They have given the option to you, but not mandate. Okay, so let us see. How are the details of outward supply furnished in the current period amended? That is in the same month or same quarter, you can amend it, guys. Okay. Proviso to Rule 59 sub Rule 1. A registered person may, after furnishing the details of outward supplies of goods or services or both, inform GSTR 1, that is in case of monthly, to be filed on or before 11th of next month. For a tax period, but before filing the return, inform GSTR 3B for the said tax period at his own option. Option it is, not mandate. Amend or furnish additional details of outward supplies of goods or services or both, inform GSTR 1A for the said tax period. In cases where a taxpayer, after having filed Form GSTR 1, realizes that some amendment, or that is either downward or upward revision, is required to be made in his tax liability, inform GSTR 1. Now, can he go and correct 1 only? No. He can make the correction in 1 through 1A. Through 1A. An optional Form GSTR 1A is provided to him. This allows him to add any particulars of the current tax period missed out in reporting in Form GSTR 1 of the current tax period. Current period only, guys. So 1A is available only for the mistakes done in the current period, not any past or future. Obviously, future I would have not known now itself. But sir, last to last month I have made some mistake in GSTR 1. Can I correct now through 1A? No, that is not possible. Okay, of the current tax period or amend any particulars already declared in GSTR 1 of the current tax period, including those declared in invoice furnishing facility. So for those suppliers who are following QRMP, quarterly return monthly payment, they would have given the details of their outward supply made to registered recipient using invoice furnishing facility for the first 2 months. Yes. So in that case, if any wrong information is given for the first 2 months using invoice furnishing facility, can we correct that also through 1A? Yes, you can correct it. For the first and second months of the quarter, if any, for the quarterly taxpayers, that is who are following QR. Yes, QRMP. Yes, some examples also I have added. Let us see. A supplier issued 2 invoices, invoice 1 and 2 in the month of January. Then he furnished the details of invoice 1 on 8th February, on or before 11th February. the return for January in GSTR 1 has to be filed on or before 11th February, but he has filed it on 8th February in form GSTR 1. However, he misses one invoice, invoice 2, and furnishes the details of the same in form GSTR 1A on 15th Feb. On 15th Feb. Now, when will it reflect to the recipient in his GSTR 2B? Guys, for 2B, it will get auto updated only on 14th of every month. Now, he is making the correction on 15th February. When will it reflect to the recipient in his GSTR 2B? Only in March 14th. Because February 14th special day is already over. Yes. In this case, invoice 1 will go to form GSTR 2B of the recipient for the month of January, made available on 14th February, because he filed it on 8th February only. So will it auto-populate to the recipient on or before 14th February? Yes, on 14th February it will reflect to him. Whereas the correction he did by giving the details of invoice 2 on 15th February. So now, will it reflect in GSTR 2B of the recipient in February? No. As it is after 14th February, GSTR 2B will get updated only once in a month. That is on 14th. So 14th February is already over. So details with respect to invoice 2 for that recipient will reflect only on 14th March. Further, invoice 2 will be made available in form GSTR 2B of the recipient for the month of February, made available on 14th March. Correction is made in February only. But as the credit period is already over to the recipient, in order to auto-populate to him, it will reflect to his GSTR 2B only in March. Can he claim credit in March? Yes, because for February, he will file GSTR 3B on or before 20th March. Can he claim the credit in that return? Yes, he can claim. Next, second example. A supplier issued 2 invoices, invoice 3 and 4 in the month of January. Then he furnished the details of invoice 3 on 15th February. GSTR 1 itself is filing late. On 15th February, because the due date is 11th February, is filing it on 15th in form GSTR 1. However, he declared invoice 4 in form GSTR 1A on 16th February. Is the amendment correct? Yes. Will it hold good? Yes. But the question is, how will it reflect to the recipient? In this case, both invoice 3 and 4, both will be made available in form GSTR 2B for the recipient for the month of February, made available on 14th March. Why, sir? Because both 1A as well as 1A, both 1 as well as 1A, both are filed after 14th February. So credit will auto-populate to the recipient only on 14th March. Okay, this is only with examples, whatever I have given is only with respect to the auto-population of credit to the recipient. Key features of this GSTR 1A are as follows. Form GSTR 1A is optional facility. It can be filed only once for a return period. Means for January or February or March, we can file it only once. For any month, you can file only once. It allows to amend the records filed in GSTR 1 of the current tax period only, not the previous tax periods. The corresponding effect of the changes made through GSTR 1A on the liability of taxpayer should be reflected in GSTR 3B for the same tax period, because anything I am liable to pay, I have to pay before filing GSTR 3B, guys. So if there is any changes in tax liability due to this amendment, it will get auto reflected in my GSTR 3B also. At the recipient's end, the ITC for the supplies declared or amended by the suppliers through form GSTR 1A will be available to the recipient in form GSTR 2B generated for the next tax period. Whether it is for the next tax period or next to next and all, depends when GSTR 1A has been amended, or else when the amendment has been done through GSTR 1A. It depends on that day, but it will definitely reflect to the recipient. But is it in this month or next month? Depends. It can be amended only electronically through the common portal, either directly or through facilitation center, as may be notified by the commissioner. And for 1A, there is no specified due date. But 1A amendment through 1A has to be done before filing 3B. After filing 3B, the doors for 1A will get closed automatically. Okay. So I have given the time limits also here. For the taxpayer filing Form GSTR 1 on a monthly basis. So 1 and 3B both they are filing monthly. In that case, Form GSTR 1A will be available on the portal every month from the due date of filing Form GSTR 1 or the actual date of filing of Form GSTR 1, whichever is later, and will be available till the actual filing of corresponding Form GSTR 3B for the same tax period. Simple, guys. So to file GSTR 1, what is the due date? 11th. Okay, let us take it as for February 25. So it is 11th March. Now to file GSTR 3B, what is the due date? 20th March. Okay, so normally the time gap to file GSTR 1A is in between this. It is in between this. Now, sir, I have filed my one on 10th March itself, sir. 10th March itself. 10th March itself. When the door for filing GSTR 1A opens is whichever is later. 11th March. 11th March. Next, sir, I have filed my GSTR 1 itself on 15th March, sir. When the door to file GSTR 1A opens, yes, whichever is later, 15th March. 15th March. Is that clear? So actual filing date or the due date, whichever is later. Whichever is later. Okay, fine. Next, sir, what about the deadline, end, when the door will get closed, sir? When the door will get closed, they have told clearly, and will available till the actual filing of corresponding Form GSTR 3B. Now, what is the due date to file GSTR 3B? 20th. Assume I filed it on 18th March only. 18th March itself. So when the doors for filing GSTR 1A will get closed? 18th March. Assume I filed it on 28th March. Will I have time till then? Yes, till 28th March. Till I actually file my GSTR 3B, I will have time to make the correction. I will have the time to make the correction, guys. Okay. Next. Second point. From the liability perspective, the net impact of particulars declared or amended through Form GSTR 1A along with the particulars declared in Form GSTR 1 shall be auto-populated in Form GSTR 3B for the same tax period as that of Form GSTR 1. Means whatever corrections I have made through 1A, it will automatically get reflected even in my 3B. Okay. Next, sir, what if supplier is following QRMP? Now, for the first 2 months with respect to B2B supplies, you will be giving the details through invoice furnishing facility. And all other remaining information as well as for the 3rd month, you will give the details of outward supplies in GSTR 1 to be filed on or before 13th of the month succeeding each quarter. Succeeding each quarter. Okay. What is the scenario we will see? For the QRMP taxpayers who files Form GSTR 1 on quarterly basis, Form GSTR 1A shall be available quarterly after actual filing of Form GSTR 1. Quarterly or due date of filing of Form GSTR 1, whichever is later, same like previously it was monthly, here it is quarterly, that's all. And will be available till the actual filing of Form GSTR 3B of the same tax period. Actual, not due date, actual date of filing GSTR 3B. So, let us consider, sir, I am following QRMP for Jan, Feb, March. What is the due date to file GSTR 1, sir? GSTR 1, due date is 13th April. 13th April. Now, when the doors will open for filing GSTR 1A? Assume, guys, I have filed it on 13th April. Sir. When the door will open? 13th April. Assume I have filed it on 10th April. When the doors will open? 10th or 13th, whichever is later. 13th. 10th or 13th, whichever is later. 13th. Next, sir, assume I have filed it on 15th. Actual date of filing GSTR 1, I have delayed it. So 15th April or 13th April, whichever is later. When the doors to file GSTR 1A will open? 15th April, whichever is later. Same like monthly. Actual date of filing GSTR 1 or the due date, whichever is later. Sir, till when will I have time, sir? Till the actual date of filing GSTR 3B. Whether you file it before the due date, on the due date, or beyond the due date, you will have time to file GSTR 1A till the date of filing GSTR 3B. The supplies reported in Form GSTR 1 of the current tax period, including those declared in invoice furnishing facility for the first month M1 and second month M2 of the quarter, if any, can be amended through corresponding quarterly 1A. Sir, what about the mistakes I would have done using invoice furnishing facility in January and February, sir? How can I correct this, sir? Even that is through GSTR 1A itself. GSTR 1A itself. So when can I file? Take same time limit, whatever we discussed here. Through that, you can make the corrections of the details which you would have already given through invoice furnishing facility. From the liability perspective, the net impact of particulars declared in 1A quarterly along with the particulars furnished in GSTR 1, whether it's quarterly or through invoice furnishing facility for the first 2 months, shall be auto-populated in GSTR 3B of the same tax period. That is the GSTR 3B for Jan, Feb, March quarter. You have to file it on or before 22nd April or 24th April, depending upon from which state you are registered. Okay. Fourth one, there will be no separate amendment facility available for records furnishing through IFF for the months of M1 and M2 during the month of M1 and M2. Means, sir, in the first month and second month only can I make any correction through 1A? No. GSTR 1A is not available for the first 2 months. So even if you have made any mistakes for January and February through invoice furnishing facility, you can correct it only in the April. After filing 1, but before filing 3B. Yeah? Yes. You can correct it, but you have to wait till the quarter ends. Next, in case where the change is required to be made in GST IN of the recipient, GST, that is the registration number of the recipient for the supply reported in Form GSTR 1 of the tax period, the same can be rectified only through GSTR 1 for the subsequent tax period. Sir, I have filed my 1 and there is a recipient who is registered under GST B2B supply. I have given his GST IN wrong in my GSTR 1, sir. Can I amend it through 1A? No. You can correct it only through next month GSTR 1. You can correct it only through next month GSTR 1, guys. Yes. This is all about indirect tax amendments as applicable for June 2025 exams, guys. All the best. Do well.